Good morning, friends. Today I am going to take a topic of class ninth, The Road Not Taken. It's a poem by Robert Frost, a poet who has always written about the philosophy of human life. In this very chapter, two roads here depict two choices in the life of a human being. As Robert Frost depicts that he had two choices, he was a farmer, and later on he switched to poetry, where he has depicted it in this very poem that how there are two choices in the life of a human being and how he should carry on with one, because he can't go for both the choices. So we'll see what is there. So first of all, it's actually an account of events and experiences, how a human being experiences in his life, what are the experiences and how he has to tackle with those experiences. Second thing which he depicts is the photographic depiction of everything. He just shows us that it's quite woods, it's in the forest, and we are able to just imagine the kind of an atmosphere over there. This idea in the poem is that kind of paths or choices you have in your life. Likewise, if when you'll be in class 11th, you have to choose whether to go for med, non-med, or any other thing. Then there will be choices again, and so it will carry on with your life, and you'll not be able to come back and choose another thing after a long period of time. So after that, the poem also depicts the person who wastes energy regretting about his own choices made in past. That means if I had made any choice in the past, it can't be changed by regretting. No, I can't change it right now while regretting. I'll regret about that very thing, and I'll say, "Oh, I have done a great problem for me." No, I can correct that very thing in past rather than regretting about in present. Sorry, rather than regretting about my past. Another thing is it may be seen as an expression of regret or of satisfaction. Here again, the thing is that if you would have taken any kind of choice in your life, you have chosen something, and if it will prove to be good in your future, you'll be satisfied. If it will prove bad in your future, you will regret, but you need not to regret for that long, because you need to satisfy yourself by taking a step which will correct everything. It also shows the fantasy of unity among humans as they want everything. One thing is there, whenever we come across any choices and both are good, we won't have both. The human desires are unfulfilled, so we want both choices at that very time, but that's not possible. So we have to choose only one, and we have to go with that. Now there are certain poetic devices which are being used. You might be knowing the poetic devices. The poetic device which is used is first assonance. Assonance is repetition of consonant vowel sounds. When vowel sounds are repeated in a line, that makes assonance, the poetic device. So here in roads and yellow, O sound is repeated. That's why it's assonance over here. Again, in next stanza, we have wanted where there is repetition of consonant sounds and it makes alliteration. Assonance, there is difference between assonance and alliteration. Assonance means repetition of vowel sounds. Alliteration means repetition of consonant sounds. So wanted where WW, the W sound is repeated. So we will see alliteration over here. Then it's imagery. Imagery, because all the things are depicted in such a manner that we are able to create a scene in our mind as well. Then there's metaphor. When you go through the poem, you'll see that a folk in the road. Folk in the road here depicts the choices in the life of a human being. So it's metaphor as well. We have repetition over there. We have, as repetition means repetition, repeating a kind of a word. So there's a repetition somewhere ages and ages hence. So from here, ages and ages. These two words make repetition. Now coming to the summary part of the poem, you'll see that the speaker stands in a road considering a fork in the road. He is just saying that there is a fork in the road, and both ways are equally, because he's there in the morning and there are leaves in this very on both the roads and they are untouched. So both the roads lie equally, but the speaker says, I have to choose only one. And he is telling to himself that maybe I'll come back some other day and I'll travel the another one, though he knows this very thing. he knows about it, that he'll not be able to come back, and he says that he admits it in future. Maybe while I have taken the choice of this very road, I'll regret in my future. But he says that at that very time I can create a scene, as I have already told you, that you can change that negativeness into the positive one. If you regret, you need not to regret, you need to try and change into the positive one. He says that I'll create that scene again, and I'll recreate it, and then I'll show the people that I have chosen the road which was less traveled, which very less people have taken, and that made the difference in my life. It is the here the life of Robert Frost depicts that farming was the road which he already had. He was a farmer, and later on he switched to poetry, and that road, less traveled road, is poetry, because very less people travel through this very road. Now there are two kinds of meanings, because you will see it everywhere in the poems. There is a surface meaning, we call it literally meaning, and figurative meaning. So literal meaning of this very poem is that poet refers to the actual road which has not been traveled as much by the people. So he takes that very road, he shows that it's not wear and tear, that means it's not gone that rough, so it's clear. So he says that very few travelers have gone through that very road and has chosen that part. But the figurative meaning here symbolizes the choices which poet has made in his life. He says that I was a farmer, that was the road taken by everyone, and the less traveled road, which is poetry, which I have taken, is less traveled, and it is hard, but maybe in future it will give me more benefits. Thank you very much for watching this video.